to conclusions. Try and stay objective. Say like, whoa, this is a cause for concern. Are people really being harassed and getting death threats? Are they being doxxed and stuff like that in such a way? That's really scary. Do some research on the topic. In this case, Matthew Taylor seems to have been nothing more than a victim of poor fashion sense. Or, I wouldn't even call it poor fashion. I think, while a shirt might be gaudy, I think it's a cool shirt. I like that art style. I find the women on it very attractive. If you want to call me sexist for finding the women on the shirt attractive, then so be it. That's your perception, and I can't help you with that. But should he have been wearing it to a professional setting like that? Maybe not. But given the context that this happened, this was a huge announcement that happened. And when it happened, thank you for the host, Springman. When it happened, who is to say that Matthew was excited, exhausted after years of research and years of funding and all this? Imagine all the conflicting emotions that you would have in a setting like this. He's a nerd. He's a science nerd. And he's in here talking about science stuff, and he's in there with his colleagues talking about astrophysics stuff and landing a comet, and just the mathematics involved in this. If you look at some of the breakdown of the mathematics involved in this, it's beyond me. I couldn't possibly begin to explain the mathematics of being able to land a traveling satellite on a traveling meteoroid in space, and the implications of such a thing for our future in space exploration and telecommunications. And this is an amazing feat, an amazing feat in science that was completely overshadowed by the fact that he wore this shirt. Now, I would have been more, if people teased him for a shirt, like, oh, dude, nice shirt, that's awesome, that's an awesome shirt, oh, that's a great shirt, dude, buddy. I can see people, razzing him for that. That's called for. I think that, like, someone makes a goof or a gaffe like that, someone points it out, and everybody has a good laugh, and it's in good nature. I don't see anything wrong with that. However, this man was brought low. He was brought to tears. If you watch the interview with him in it, here's a better picture of Matthew Taylor. That's what he looks like. He's a very unconventional man. He has tattoos. He has facial hair. He does not look like a scientist. He looks like someone that you might find in like a UFC fighting gym. This guy looks buff. He's got tattoos all around him. He's got a beard. He's got glasses. He's got this shirt on. He looks like he's either like a UFC fighter or, a biker or something, or he belongs in a comic book shop or something. Maybe a big nerd, or I don't know. But he almost even look like he is defying stereotypes in science too as we speak, which is kind of interesting. Hold your questions. If you have a specific question for me, hold it until after I finish a thought. So let me finish this thought on Matthew Taylor. Legendary, get ready to ask that question again. You could say, yeah, it was a tacky ass shirt. But yeah, to undermine the scientific feat that happened was ridiculous. So this is the video. I think of there's Matt right here. Here he is.
Matt, how is maybe it's too early to really say how the science is comparing with that from the Rebecca orbiter, but perhaps you'd like to give us a bit of an overview of how it's going to compare with the data that we've seen from the Rebecca.
So, in the video,
the shirt I wore this week, I made a big mistake, and I offended many people, and I'm very sorry about this.
okay. And here he starts to cry. Okay, this guy legit breaks down into tears because of the fact that people on social media made him feel like such a piece of garbage. Like, they made him feel like he hated women. I can't imagine that. Like, he was all like I said, he has all these conflicting emotions. He's tired, probably because he's been working around the clock on this project. He has to give a live interview right after they land the satellite because they're reporting on it live. It's science. It's an important feat. He's excited for the future. He's exhausted from the research. He's unknown. He's doubtful about the future, what's the implications. And then all of a sudden, all everybody can talk about is this shirt. The next morning when they go to interview him, the lady, the interviewer, she doesn't even mention the shirt. She's talking about like the implications, what this research means. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What are the implications of this in the future? And what does he do? He doesn't talk about science. He goes and talks about his shirt. And this became the problem. This becomes the problem of how that people took something out of context or blew something way out of proportion. And he was made, like, they didn't, like, to get an accurate representation, like, this article doesn't sum up what he got. Like, people slandered his name. Now, imagine being a person, like a normal, average, everyday person. All of a sudden, someone runs up to you that you don't know and calls you a racist. Like, you're a racist. You're a fucking racist. You racist piece of shit. You hate monger. Suddenly, 3 more people run up and start calling you a racist hate monger. Then 5, then 10, then 20, then 30, then 80, then 1,500 people, then 2,000, then 5,000. Twitter started a hashtag, like I said, hashtag sexy shirt. Or shitty shirt, whatever it was. There was this hashtag that got started over this debate of this shirt, and this man was made to feel like shit for something like, and it was a lie. He obviously had female friends because it was a female that made this shirt for him. I'm sure it hurt his feeling because there's a good chance that he probably has a sister, that he probably has a wife or a girlfriend, or he probably has a mother that he loves very much, and his name was dragged through the mud. And his this amazing feat of science was undermined by a shirt. That is when identity politics goes. It's already too far, but it's just like I cannot fathom how sad it must be for people that during this whole thing, that's the only thing they wanted to talk about. Nobody wanted to talk about the fact that we can space travel. We are that much closer to space travel and leaving our planet and exploring distant worlds and setting up colonies on extended planets and creating mining operations, mining asteroids like you would see in a game like Dead Space. That is going to be a reality in just 50 years from here. We already have private companies getting ready to send people to, like I said, to Mars. And they've started trying to recruit people for it. They have a projected date of like 50 years. They want to send the first colonists to Mars to get it started. Nobody's talking about that. They're talking about a shirt. That's the problem. This is the problem that I have with arguments like this, like with that. I want to identify people. They want to force people to forget about the real issues and focus on something that might not matter as much. Like, was the shirt tacky? Yes. Should he have been wearing it? Probably not. Does that guy deserve the hate he got? No. And by the same token, neither does Zoe Quinn or Anita Sarkeesian. Now, what they do are two completely different things. Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn have become famous for being professional victims, essentially. Now, that doesn't mean that the claims that they make are not true, because the claims that they make are true, and that's the problem with their argument. They intermingle truth with exaggerations or biased opinions, or their own perception. So it becomes this muddled mix of what is reality. So because this is a medium, or this subject is highly dependent on perception. Who's to say who is sexist and who is not? Perhaps one could argue that people like Anita Sarkeesian and feminists that support her, those kinds of feminists that support her, are just as sexist towards women, not just men, towards women, than men ever could be. And that is an argument that needs to be had. But they don't want to, people, not just women, not just feminists, men too. Men that get so pissed off about this bullshit, because it is bullshit. A lot of it is, like I said, they take their own perceptions and mix it with truth, so it comes off as a fact, but it's not a fact. And then you have people creating social policies and whole industries being influenced by these opinions. And you have people like Anita Sarkeesian making massive amounts of money based on these kind of identity politics that are divisive in nature, and segregate people into camps. And purposely creates a no middle ground for people to meet. That is the problem. That is the problem that I have with people like her, or the people that propose identity politics. Now, we have a couple of people that expressed that they wanted to call. Is there anybody here that is ready to participate in the radio function of this, that they want to talk, that they are ready to share their thoughts? While we get that going, I'm going to review chat here real quick. Stepan's ready? Okay, hold that thought, Stepan. Let me look at chat real quick. Moocher. It's more fantasy-based than sex. Many people would see the sexual lens. That's true. It all comes down to a matter of perception. I think most people would be inclined to agree that when looking at that specific shirt, that the women were sexualized because they're depicted in a way that their breasts are showing. Now, a woman's breasts aren't necessarily sexual, which again, in another weird twist of irony, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of slut walks, but the slut walks, let me show you what slut walking is. Slut walking is it's a protest movement that has started. Slut walks. Okay, let's see what slut walks. Slut walk is a transitional movement of protest marches calling for an end to rape, I can't say that word, to sexual assault culture. You know the word I can't say. It starts with an R. Specifically, participants protest against explaining or excusing sexual assault by referring to any aspects of a woman's appearance. So these walks often encourage, not all the time, encourage women to dress in suggestive clothing and to rock their sexuality and be comfortable as sexual beings and to take back the streets, as a matter of speaking. So in a weird way, feminists like Anita Sarkeesian say that the depiction of women bending over in such a way, sitting down in such a way, walking in such a way, and the camera focusing on a body in such a way is sexist. But a woman taking off her shirt is not sexist or not objectifying to herself. Now, it's all about perception. There's differences of perception. I look at a woman as a sexual being. I am also a straight male. When I look at a woman, I am going to look at her as a sexual being. I am going to sexualize her because I am sexually attracted to a woman. So that happens. That it's a natural response to a innate brought up biological process that we are all born with. That is something that can't be avoided to a degree. You can try and suppress those emotions and those thoughts, but that doesn't change the fact that those thoughts are very real, and they're in many ways they're natural. Again, highly based on context, and not everything should be just say, oh, it's okay because that's just biology. You can't chalk everything up to biology and just say well, I'm straight and I'm attracted to women, so I should be able to draw a woman like this, spreading her her vagina for people to enter, like Miley Cyrus does at one of her concerts or whatever, and that's just totally seen as okay, and kids can watch it and whatever. There are very real ramifications of that. Is it objectification? Yes, true. And again, like I said, we'll get more into the actual sexual nature of things and more discussion down the line. But it looks like Stepan is ready to call. So if you guys don't know who Stepan, he's been an active member of our community, since I first started streaming. He's a very opinionated person. I respect him very much. He's a very educated person. He's very intelligent, but he's also very passionate about what he believes. As you can tell, he's not afraid to mince his words, and I would ask everybody to be tolerant and understanding that not everybody has your same cultural upbringing and your same point of view. That being said, I expect Stepan to treat everybody with the amount of respect and to show dignity and poise, and he has never not done that when I've asked him to do that. So I have asked him to